Hey people, so we're working on finishing up our low poly animal illustrations, and I just wanted to give you a few things that you need to make sure that you do before you complete and finalize these. So first thing, right off the bat, you want to make sure that you get all your missing parts. Like this one right here is a really great start, but there's, the teeth. We really want to get some of the detail in the teeth, the eyes, and some of the gills. So you just keep going and making those polygon shapes with the pen tool and fill in these kind of detail areas, make a shape, turn off the visibility, and then sample from within the shape. And you just keep going until you get all the pieces of your animal and you have a good amount of detail, especially like in the face, the mouth, the eyes, the nose. That kind of area is important to get smaller shapes to get better detail. So let's see, another one would be like here. Like this is a really great start, super good, but there's obviously like some pieces missing, and you're going to have to turn off the reference photo before you submit these. So you can tell that the paws need a little bit of work, just making polygon shapes for the paws and in here. So you keep going with those, and the nose, the eyes, and the collar right here. All these are pieces that are missing and are going to end up being blank if you just turn off your reference photo, which you're going to have to do for the final image. So spend some time and make sure that there's no pieces that are not complete with these polygon shapes. So let's see if we just keep going. And here's another good one that we started, but again, there's like a lot of like shapes that are missing, and even like the gaps between. To get rid of those, like we were doing with the large shapes, you would just make like one or two like large shapes that encompass the whole animal and go around the border of the whole thing, and then just fill those shapes with a color that's in the middle, not too light, not too dark, that is common throughout the animal, and then just push that on that larger layer behind all of the, or underneath all of the medium and small shapes that are making all of your detail. So again, like this looks like a great start, but needs a little bit of work in like a large shape and some smaller shapes like within the face. You just need to get in there and make some smaller shapes to get some detail. Again, like follow lines within that are already apparent within your reference photo. Lines like changes in color, or changes from beak to feathers, or highlights, or these details that would be around the bird's kind of face. So again, finish all those missing parts and before you move on. The other thing that I wanted to show you is feet placement. Like some of these look kind of awkward and look like they're kind of floating a little bit. Here, let's just delete these for a second. So like this bird looks really, really great, but he just looks like he's floating, looks a little bit awkward with his feet just sitting on nothing, just white space. So that's a great time. Just take the pen tool and just make like a couple little shapes so it looks like he's standing on something, and sample from the color of the branch that would be underneath his feet according to the reference photo. Again, you don't have to make like a ton of little shapes for feet placement, but it does pull the whole thing together and make it look like the animal is sitting on something. Another example of that might be like, where are we going? And turn that one off. Oops, where are we? Oh, like this guy right here, the koala looks really great, but he looks like he's kind of just clawing onto nothing. So in this case, I would, really spend just a little bit of time and make some shapes that look like a tree branch that our koala is sitting on, and then fill it with a color. So there's one. And do we do the bird? We'll turn that one off. And the snake, he looks really good. But again, he's like floating. So we really benefit from just making just a few little shapes. You don't even need to go all the way to the edge of the composition. You can just like stop it and you know, make a shape for the branch, make a couple shapes for those branches, fill it with the color for those branches, and then push it on that large layer group behind all your detail layers, like your medium and your small polygon shapes. Do it on both sides. Again, this is just so it doesn't look like he's completely floating. I'm sorry, I can't fill it with the tree branch color because I don't have the sample image, but hopefully you get the idea that you know, if it looks awkward, like it's floating, it might be a great idea to, you know, put something down for your animal to rest on. So that's feet placement. After you kind of get to that part, let's see. Some people still have black borders, so it might look like this with black borders. And I really think that it just looks a ton better without the black borders. So what you can do is just go and, you know, drag out a selection with a pointer tool and then come over and select the borders and trash the borders. And then sometimes the borders like end up hidden in like tiny little groups. And so where's the group? This group. So if like this group right here has borders, whoops. Oh, he has a border. You may not be able, you might have to actually go to that group in the layers palette and select all of the paths within that group. So where are we? We're in this one right here. So this one right here. So again, it's just like looks awkward if some of them have black borders and then some of them don't have black borders. So just remove all the black borders and keep it simple. So if the borders aren't getting deleted because they're hidden within like a subgroup, you just have to find that subgroup within the layers palette, select the top, hold down shift and select the bottom one. So you're selecting all of those. And then click over here in the borders palette to highlight that border and hit trash to get rid of all of the borders. So there's no black borders on your polygon, low poly animal illustration. So one more thing, once you have like the whole thing kind of done and you removed all the black borders, there's no missing pieces, you want to just place it kind of nicely. So here I'm going to show you one, like the fish right here was, whoops, I enlarged it a bunch just to make sure that it filled the whole composition. So if your animal is like stuck in the middle and you have like excess space around the edges of your animal, you want to just like zoom out and then like select the whole animal, select all of your shapes and hit shift or hold down shift when you are enlarging these. So you get a nice big animal and kind of center it in your composition. And just to, so you're not leaving like extra negative space or all this white space around your animal, you can enlarge it just so it fills the composition a little bit. So another option that I wanted to show you real quick is if you, excuse me, I already did this. If you have like an animal like this and you spend all your time doing homework for other classes and you didn't get very far, the one thing you can do is enlarge it so you're only kind of seeing part of the animal and you don't have to necessarily get the whole animal illustrated with those low poly shapes. So if you have something like this, you can just oversize and drag the reference image and your shapes bigger. So like only the head would be showing, and now you don't have to worry about the rest of the body. You're only worrying about the head, the neck, and a little bit of the shoulders. So a couple little tips if you're trying to do that. And like when you're enlarging your animal illustration, you are probably going to have your stock photo layer locked. So if you are like trying to enlarge it and you go and you select all of your shapes and then you move it around and you're trying to center it and like enlarge it and get it in there without selecting your reference photo. Now your reference photo isn't going to match up with your polygon shapes, so it might look a little awkward, or it will be impossible for you to kind of clean it up. If there's anything you want to change later, like if you see, if I turn off all of those, my reference image isn't matching up with my polygon shapes. So regardless, like when you resize your polygon shapes, you want to make sure that you're resizing with your reference photo. So you're going to need to, let me try to go back a step without it freezing. Okay, so before you go and like resize it, you just want to like unlock your reference photo layer, and then when you go and like select everything, you want to make sure that all of your polygon shapes are selected, including your large, medium, small shapes, those groups, and your reference image. That way your reference image is scaling with your polygon shapes. So now that I'm sure that that reference photo is selected as well as my polygon shapes, I'm going to hold down Shift, and you can see that the reference photo behind this is scaled with my polygon shapes. And you can move it around, position it, and get it kind of centered. Make it look good. Remember, you want to make these final, like they're ready to be printed in like a magazine or wall art. So you want to really spend some time, make sure that it fits on the composition logically, and there's not like extra negative white space laying around. So once you get it to a good point, you're ready to export it, just really make sure that you are turning off the stock photo. You're not allowed to have the stock photo on with your final illustration. So it looks something like this. And you're ready to export. I just wanted to show you one quick thing. I realized that you can change the page color if you are like selected, or excuse me, if you click outside of your composition onto the page, this panel over here changes, and the color option for the page is right here. So you can, if you think it looks better black or white or gray, you can just change the page color without making a background shape. So once you get it to where you want it, it's a fully done low poly animal illustration. It's enlarged, it's placed nicely on your composition. You're ready to go. You just hit save, and then you would export a JPEG. So it's file and export, and then make sure that you are exporting a JPEG. Make sure that you have the highest quality that you can get, and yep, that's it. So that's how you get a JPEG. And then if you are submitting when you're submitting for the final on Monday, you're going to have to submit a Gravit file. So here, if you go File and then Download File, you're going to download one of those GV design files, and that is what you're going to submit along with the JPEG for Monday's assignment. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here to help. I respond a lot quicker on Remind. And I hope you had fun with this.